Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Summer School. Today, we are here with the star, and I hope I am absolutely pronouncing this right, but Catalina Jean is a wedding photographer, was a wedding photographer, but also the literal SEO expert. I'm so excited to dive into all of this because I have known of you for literally what feels like my entire career. You have always been like at the top of the industry when it comes to like respect in the SEO world. Literally my entire career, like since I started, I knew of your name. So this is so fun to now get to interview you for the podcast. But before we dive into today's show, I just want to shout out our podcast sponsor, Narrative. Narrative is a AI culling, blogging, and editing software, and I have been using it for so long. I'm obsessed with Narrative. I've been culling in it since like they launched, basically, I think maybe 5 years ago, and it is an essential tool for my workflow. So if you've never used Narrative and you want to try it out, make sure you click the show notes and go ahead and try it out. It is a game changer when it comes to literally everything it does. So if you've never tried it, go ahead and click there. But now on to our guest. I'm so stoked. Why don't you go ahead and tell everyone a little more about you? I normally interview a lot of people I actually know, like pretty deeply, have hung out with in real life. But Catalina was one where I was like, I have to have you on, even though we don't know each other yet, because I can't wait any longer. So this is really exciting. So thanks for being here. And I would love if you just started us off, like giving us some back history for everyone listening that may or may not know you already.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, my name is Catalina Jean, and I am a little weird scientist of marketing. I am obsessed with all things marketing, but really my deep obsession comes from being able to build your own thing, being able to not work for someone else if you don't want to. I think it is such a hack in the matrix of this life thing to like wake up every morning and just be like, oh, I will do what I want today. And I just think that's such an amazing opportunity for people. So that's what I specialize in. And then I've been a wedding photographer for 12 years now, which is crazy to say. And I've been in education for the last 10 years. I started off, getting really deep with SEO, and that eventually branched out into socials and Pinterest, YouTube optimizing, pretty much anything to do with getting in front of your ideal people. I love to find not just the traditional ways of doing it, but kind of the weird hacks, like the weird things. I'm always trying things and some things don't work, but then I end up finding these little things where I'm like, oh, this is a little secret way in, or this is an easy way to do this, because I know as business owners, we're wearing all the hats most days.
Yeah.
And I love spending 6 hours a day studying marketing, but I know most people don't. So I like to come with just like the nuggets, the tidbits, the things that are the easiest things to apply and the quickest things to apply to get results. So that's kind of my obsession.
Were you always obsessed with marketing and like the analytical side of everything, like your whole life, pre-wedding photography, or was it wedding photography and trying to like start that business that like launched you into like, oh, I really love this. I love that I've been able to like book out. Like what was that for you? Was wedding photography kind of one and the same with the marketing desire come from, wanting to get booked and wanting to figure out how to do that and help other people do that as well?
Yeah, I have always loved to be a hacker. I am a little hacker.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, I feel like it's in your DNA.
It's in there. Yeah. Since, one of my strongest memories is sitting in front of a computer for the first time. I was like, what is this magical machine? Because they basically were kind of available in schools when I was like maybe in middle school. Like we didn't see them until that time. And then I started teaching myself how to code. I would hack the school computers. So I would I would be in the library and hack computers in other rooms and be like, this is a ghost, I'm haunting you. And they'd be like, just be able to take and then like exit out. And when I was in high school, I was like, I've just always been kind of such a nerd. And I was like, well, how can I turn a nerd into being able to like make money? And I was like, oh, well, I'm in the first class for geometry. Why don't I sell answers to the tests for the rest of the classes.
She's always been selling education, you guys.
It's a thing. And so I was like, cool, though this will work. My market share is really large because I'm in the first class. And I was like, well, I'm going to keep my group kind of small to keep it safe. And then what happened is those note cards got shared with everyone. And one day I missed one question and 120 people missed it in the exact same way. And I got caught. My teacher was like, so I know who it is and they can come up after class. And I was like,
you're like, that was me.
It was honestly, it was if I did some coaching with someone and they're like, what's your like first, like most successful memory? Honestly, it was that. It was a creative way to think about it. And I kind of like to be sort of a troublemaker, or more so like I like to find things where everyone's like, well, you have to do it this way. And I'm like, but do I?
Like a disruption, like a disruptor.
Yeah. I like finding, it's like feels fun to find these things where everyone says one thing and I'm like, I'm going to make sure that's true because it might not be. So that's where that kind of comes from. Is it just kind of bled from being just like kind of a nerd gamer. And then marketing is very complex. There's a lot of things going on. You have psychology, you have algorithms, you have these different optimizing, and they're all kind of layered with each other. So it's basically a system that I think I'll never fully hack in a way. And that to me keeps it really interesting. Same thing with wedding photography. I mean, you're never like, yes, I am now the perfect photographer. It's a constant challenge. You're trying to outdo yourself every time. And I like those kinds of things. I like things that it doesn't really have, you just keep kind of going. And so that's kind of, what led me and why I'm so obsessed with, like, I feel like I play my favorite video game like all day is kind of diving into the different things and running really weird tests. Like this week I ran a test where I posted 11 photo posts in 30 minutes. I
saw that on your stories.
Just back to back. I had the idea and I'm like, I wonder if I'll get banned. Let's try. And because I want to try it out. So I do that stuff all the time and it's fun. Some stuff doesn't work, but some stuff kind of does.
What did you learn from your test of posting 11 images at the same time, basically? Did you learn anything? Like
I did. So one, I didn't get banned, which is cool. So
check mark.
I was like, is something going to happen? Two, kind of the typical thing that we assume happens is that there was lower reach on those posts, but my photo account, I am not trying to grow. And that's on purpose because I created that account, one, to just post my work because my main account was getting too split. And I'm like, I really want to focus it. But two, I was like, okay, well, I have a brand new Instagram account. If I was someone who was brand new, how would I book? And I'm like, oh, this is a great opportunity for me to remain in the seat of being empathetic and kind of knowing where to start, because I feel like I want to be the most effective teacher possible. And that means talking to people at all different places of their business. And that's what led me to like the SEO for socials breakthrough is like, well, basically growing from social posts on Instagram is like nearly impossible now because it's like no longer kind of a photo app. It's like television. It's like an entertainment app. And and so what I did is I was like, oh, well, if SEO for socials works, if I know that these posts are going to get in front of potential clients who are in movement to hire a photographer, that it's kind of placed in those places, then I'm like, oh, the metrics don't matter. Oh, so then I could post 11 times in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Why not?
Did you run them in a way to where you were able to see if you ranked from those posts? Like, because I do have a friend who does like, oh gosh, see this, you guys, context. I do not know that much about SEO. Let's be real. I even admitted this to Catalina before our interview, which is why I was excited to interview her. That like, social media SEO never really booked any clients for me because I, obviously didn't do any of it.
That's perfect.
But Instagram did.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And I actually did used to talk on SEO on Instagram pre all the AI and Instagram showing up on Google and all these things that I know are new things that I have not studied that maybe you have. But in my Instagram talks, I did used to talk on like SEO and like your handle. And, I don't think hashtags are that bad because they can still, even if people aren't searching hashtags, they can still help you rank. There's all these things that can add up to help you show up when someone uses the Instagram search handle instead of Google, because a lot of people are doing that these days. They're using TikTok search, they're using Instagram search, and they're not just going to usernames, they're clicking search. So who's showing up? It's not large accounts normally. Like, yes, if
Mhm.
the large accounts are doing things right, they might show up. Like when we moved to LA, I taught a class on social media, I think 2 months after we moved, and I had them all search LA wedding photographer, not even knowing that I would actually show up for everyone because everyone's feed would be different. But I did. And I
Mhm.
was like, you guys, this is crazy. That's great. If a current potential client is searching Instagram,
Mhm.
I am showing up. But it wasn't just because I have a following. It was like, I'm using hashtags, I'm talking about us moving to LA. I'm probably putting like location in. I was doing
Yes.
a good bit of things. I wasn't going overboard, and I know I could have done even more, which is what I'm excited to ask you about because I do have a friend who even puts descriptions in the photos, what
Alt
is that
text?
called? Alt
Yeah,
text.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he has ran tests. You would probably love him.
Mhm.
And gotten reels and stuff to show up on Google and show up with posts on Google and stuff like that. I think Instagram shows up on Google now, question mark.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So I found that very interesting because I don't ever go that far, but I'm
Mhm.
curious, like your take on all of that and being discovered on social media with SEO, like what your holistic perspective is on that as someone who coaches SEO.
Mhm. Oh, and you said, "Oh, I don't know SEO." That was all exact SEO. You were thinking about it exactly
I
in the
do, just
layers.
not
It's
on
cool.
Google, you know?
Yeah, but they're very
They're both
similar.
search engines these days.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anywhere that you speak, you write, where there's text, all of that are places for SEO. So exactly what you were doing with kind of that layering, where you're talking about it and there's maybe some hashtags. And yes, I did do a real like, are hashtags dead? Kind of. They were a way to grow to your account like
Hmm.
years ago.
But I think they can
And
still help you get discovered.
yes. So they're at, like what you said, they're a second layer of
Hmm.
optimization. So it's, if you don't have any other optimizations and you just add hashtags,
You're not going to
that
magically be
alone,
discovered.
yeah, it's like it's not quite enough. We want to layer it. So what you
Mm.
said was absolutely perfect. And the one thing too with SEO for socials is it's a little wild west because there's like ranking your profile, like you said.
Hmm.
That's definitely one aspect of it for sure. And then the individual posts, those ranking, I think Google's still trying to figure out what it wants to
Hmm.
do because Google likes to keep people on Google products like YouTube. So, but it learned, like you said, people are searching on social media now. And so when Google notices that, it starts stealing. Like that's why
Mm.
Reddit posts are on page one now, because if you searched best, I don't know, face wash, all that came up was sponsored posts. Well, that's going
Yeah.
to hurt Google. So then they started showing Reddit because people were like, oh, no, I want the real
I
review.
live on Reddit. I love
Reddit's
Reddit.
amazing.
I
Reddit
love
is
Reddit.
great. It is
Uh,
it's like so old internet. Like I love it because
I'm
it's
not going to lie. I
just,
probably end up on Reddit sometimes daily.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. And I like there's like, there's the anonymous, like you get karma and stuff, but it's like
Yeah.
it's not worth anything. Like it's just for, why not?
But it
But
feels
it,
like more real information almost because it's anonymous. No one is benefiting
exactly,
from the Reddit
exactly.
post. I mean, I'm sure there's people
Mhm.
who like benefit and sell things on Reddit, but the
Yeah.
average person is not benefiting from their knowledge
Mhm.
they're dumping on Reddit, you know?
Yes, exactly. And but Google saw that and was like, oh, well,
We
they're
should rank this
now,
higher.
now they're doing better.
Mm.
But even Reddit has gotten taken over with bot posts where it's like best
Mm.
skincare. And then you have what looks like
Yeah,
real
basically a
people.
sponsored. Yeah.
And then, but I love Redditors because they'll start attacking, like,
Yes,
and
I've
the
seen
the
that.
moderators will take them down, and I'm like, this is awesome. It's like it's wild on there. I love Reddit, but yeah, but that's what kind of, so when it comes to actually ranking social posts on Google, so we're doing kind of what I like about SEO for socials is you're kind of doing both. So you're getting ranked on in places where people are searching on socials,
Mm.
maybe the hashtags. When you do it in layers, you'll kind of be everywhere, even being in the tagged sections for things like venues or someone that maybe gets hired before you. That's
Mm.
another layer. And then the post getting pulled over to Google, for right now, it's a little bit different depending on the keyword.
Mm.
So it's not like there's kind of one dedicated spot for social posts. I feel like they're kind of testing it. And this is in my course as well. And I told everyone too, I'll keep things updated as we see a little more like if we see a little more of a through line, because right now
Mm.
I've looked at a lot of keywords and it's like, okay, sometimes they're there, sometimes they're in the short form video tab, sometimes But for me, it's kind of like if you're already posting to Instagram, if you're already doing that work, why not do these extra optimizations? Because I kind of think
Mm.
it's a little bit an investment for not only showing on socials, but I think Google's going to have to figure out that maybe people aren't going to be making YouTube shorts and stuff. That's like, you might have to give up some of your page one real estate for your own products. Sorry.
Mhm.
So to me, it's a little bit of an investment right now where the people that are doing that work will be the ones that show up on the keywords, even if right now there's not that section on
Yeah.
that keyword. So I've told all my students, I'm like, this is Wild West. It's about posting really frequently. And that's why I ran that test. And I'm like, well, if I just post super, super frequently and only use SEO for socials, knowing that the metrics don't matter,
Hmm.
why not? So, but yeah, so it's a little Wild West on the Google side of SEO for socials. But what I love is you're kind of like with one, with one sort of taking some steps for optimization, you're really giving yourself potential real estate on both Google and
Mhm.
Instagram and from a few different aspects. But yeah, what you said about it, that's exactly how people should kind of think about SEO. One of the most common mistakes that I see in people's bios, and you've probably seen it too, is like when they put like, California, destination, Italy, wedding photographer. Like you can't really put that all in one bio. You're likely not going to rank for any of it. You kind of got to pick one
Mhm.
in a way. But if you want to rank for those various keywords, use your posts, because then you can do a
Yeah.
single post. And that's how you can rank across those without confusing Instagram and Google in your bio with trying to go through too many things at once.
I actually kind of want to ask you a specific question because we can just use myself as an example.
Love.
So I don't, I don't know, something about moving back to the Pacific Northwest. We just moved back a month or two ago for
Oh,
everyone listening
welcome.
from
Nice.
LA. Loved LA.
Yeah.
LA was so big and diverse. I did not care about having LA in my bio and in my name, and I wouldn't have minded being booked in LA. But specifically, I'm living a little closer to Seattle now. And
Cool.
I kind of enjoy working Portland Hood River a little more if I were to take on some weddings. I don't hate the Seattle wedding scene, but I don't know, something about it. I just don't want to put Seattle wedding photography. And I'm like, I would love if you told me if I'm making a mistake with this. I just put
Mm.
PNW. I think people do sometimes research PNW, but I
Mm.
feel like that's so niche because only people that are American will even know the term PNW. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like maybe I shouldn't, but I also just don't want to niche myself into like Seattle. I don't know.
Mm.
It's an interesting balance.
Yeah.
I like that now that I'm in a smaller town. I don't know, the privacy about someone not technically knowing my location. Does that
Hmm.
make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are your thoughts
Absolutely.
on that? PNW. I'm like,
Hmm.
it's a little more broad and gives me a little more freedom, but at the same time, it's not as searched. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of the balance a little bit, because I know people sometimes they aren't just shooting in your area, and that's where considering sort of a multi-channel approach. So
Mm.
maybe PNW is on your Instagram because that's most like more your main public face.
Mm-hmm.
It stays a little more general. But then if we wanted to kind of, you could on your posts, target really specific venues, or even
Yeah.
you could do a post like, like the 10 most scenic wedding venues in Washington.
Yeah.
That's a great SEO post that would reach your clients. So there's a creative way to like target your local market in more specific ways. And then if you layer it with traditional SEO, you can have your homepage even be, if you want, a little more general. So say if you just want to do PNW, or if you're like, I'm truly a destination
Mm-hmm.
photographer, I don't have a location,
Yeah.
you can put that on your homepage. And then what we do is we use our blog posts and we use targeted landing pages. Targeted landing pages are one of my favorite strategies
Mm.
to rank for multiple locations. So it looks like if you go to my site or you search me or whatnot, it looks like I am all Portland and all Oregon. However, if you search Palm Springs wedding photographer, I'm also on page one there. And that is
Wild.
using a little hidden strategy. So that way, because my parents live down there, I've spent many, many, many years there. I know the area very well. And I just shot my last wedding of the season was in Palm Springs, and they found that hidden page, and it
Mm.
was great. And so it's hidden on my site so I don't confuse people, because they're like, what is she in Portland, is she in Palm Springs, what is this? They get their own customized web homepage basically that is just my Palm Springs portfolio. And it's one of my favorite strategies for elopement photographers, people that do more destination work with multiple locations, and also family photographers,
Mm.
newborns, things like that. Targeted landing pages are your best friend.
Can they
Yeah.
accidentally end up on your main site by just clicking your logo and then it's like, oh, wait, is she in Portland? Where did the
Hmm.
Palm Springs site go? That could
Yeah.
technically happen, right? Or
Hmm.
no? Okay.
Yeah, it totally can. So I have a section on there that talks that I am located in Portland, Oregon, but my Palm Springs one's a little unique because I got married there. So I actually put my
Mm.
wedding video and I was like, I am located in Portland, but Palm Springs is a really special place in my
Yeah.
heart. So there's a way to naturally talk about the place. I have another student who I believe, oh, I hope they will correct me if I'm wrong. I know they're in the Northeast, but their hometown is Oaxaca. And so we worked out a strategy where
Mm.
she could target Oaxaca. Now, Oaxaca is really special to her heart. It's a very special location. So for her to talk about it in that way is like people
Yeah.
aren't going to even bat an
Question.
eye.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why I'm a little bit, some people I've seen do targeted landing page strategies where it's like they're just spamming them out, like just for all these cities.
Yeah.
And I'm like, go for it, sure. But I think many of us want to stay pretty honest and true to our values and things like that. So picking places that you've shot, even if you've only shot there once and you fell in love with it, like Todos Santos is one I want to target next. That place is so cool. My husband and I had so
Mm.
much fun, and I will just talk about it very honestly and be like, and I'll have my photos. I talk about that I shoot travel. I'll use things to kind of use the social proof that I travel a lot. Like I'll use reviews from my other travel weddings I have one that says like we
Mm.
flew Catalina all the way to Tulum and it was the best decision we made. I use things to kind of bring people along on that journey so that they're not shocked if they see I'm in
Mm.
Portland, but they do see a very customized experience for their location and my passion about the place and why I
Mm.
love it and my photos that I've taken there. So there's ways to do it. And that's too, I know a lot of people feel like marketing is very icky. It doesn't have to be. You can really interweave yourself and things that are special about things and about certain locations. Because if someone's getting married in a specific location, they oftentimes feel drawn to that location for a very specific reason as well, and they're going to connect with that. So yes, I'm all about, ranking for places, but at least personally for me, I there are strategies I know I could do that I could fire off all these pages, but I'm pretty intentional with what I choose, and I think that keeps people from getting too much whiplash when
Mm.
it's like, because I have had people, they've asked me like, should I use a target landing page for a place I've never shot? And I'm like, you can, except when that client reaches out and they're like, oh wait, you actually don't know
Don't
our,
know
it's
anything about
gonna
this
it's gonna
location.
cause
Yeah.
a disconnect. So if you do, kind of, because the big question I get asked is like, well, I do want to shoot destination, but I haven't. The only way to do it is to go do
Mm.
work there. It's something. And I mean, like, just
Go on
get a
vacation. Take
go
some
on
photos.
vacation, see if you can go to the tagged places for the location, find a little cute couple in your
Yeah.
location, maybe get a little dress and get some flowers and shoot there and get to know the location really well. So you have like restaurant recommendations and things like that. Like those are all things where people are going to get excited about it. But
Mm.
usually you got to create it to shoot it, but it's worth it. My whole business was launched on like one wedding and like 8 shoots that I planned myself with like
Mm.
rented dresses and like just like, it started off with thrift store dresses, and then I was like, okay, I have a little more money, I can like rent a dress and rent the one way, and now I can work with a little more designers and things like that if I want to. But we all start there, and yeah, I'm so glad I did those little free shoots because I was able to launch my whole career. But yeah, so that's kind of the way to think about it when you're doing optimizations. If you want to go for various areas, that you can do a little socials with your bio, you can do it on your posts, and then you can do it on your homepage, targeted landing page, blog posts, and you
Mm.
can literally exist in every place that a
Yeah.
potential client would be looking in your area. And that's what I love. I keyword domination in multiple platforms is the vibe, because then you're just set. And a
Mm.
lot of the stuff, and that's why I do kind of favor and lean towards traditional SEO, is because it is so passive. Once it's set up, it can kind of leave it there, with socials. But I do like the SEO for socials method, because if we don't have to worry about metrics, it takes out a lot of the the personal difficulty. Like when we go to post, we're like, oh, Instagram's terrible. It doesn't show my posts. But if we can just
Yeah.
like remove that, then it's like, oh, I can just share my work as little portfolio pieces. And I know they're going to get in front of people that are in
People.
motion to book. So it makes social media feel a lot lighter, which I really like.
Would you
So.
say from your new account and testing that, would you say at this point you have enough data to know that what you're doing is working, or do you think it's going to be more of a later on down the line you'll be able to see that inquiries were coming in from Instagram, but you were mostly posting just for the sake of posting, not for the sake of growing, and you still got inquiries from it, kind of thing? Have you been able to see if there's been any correlation yet, or is it too new to know?
Yeah, so before I launched the course, I ran a big test on that account
Mm,
for a month. And what's cool is because I didn't have really a photo Instagram, I
yeah.
wasn't posting on it. I don't get any inquiries from Instagram. So I was like, great.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'll have really clean data for when I do
Yeah,
this. So then I ran some tests with it, and I did end up, I believe I got 5 inquiries. I
that's
booked
amazing.
2, and one of them was for nearly a 10K package.
Wow.
And so I was like, and that's when I was like, I need to make this course. Like
Yeah.
this might actually, because when I started, I was like, well, let's see. I mean, I was like, I know the theoretical behind this, but let's see if we're doing it. And yeah, and then I booked that. And then this month, all month, I'm testing my mass post strategy where
Mm,
things like I'm once or twice a week, I'm going to do 10 to 15 posts all at once, all SEO
and to
optimized. And I
see.
want to see what happens. It's booking season. Why not? So,
Yeah. Man,
mm,
I'm intrigued on this, on the fact that, say someone did find you via searching Instagram, most likely, since it wasn't an actively growing account. So they were most
mm,
likely finding the account and then inquiring with you from searching something within your keywords on Instagram specifically. But then that takes them to a, almost, you could say it's almost like a landing page, your actual Instagram for that account. It would take them there when they click on the photo they found you from. And then
mm,
that space, not technically being as personal brand forward technically because it's less about growth, it's
mm,
like they still have to make enough of a connection to then click the link to inquire through the website. Have
mm,
you taught on that or thought on? I mean, I'm sure you have, but I
mm.
feel like at the same time, you could dump things and technically like not care about optimize them for socials, but for SEO, but at the same time, given the space we're in,
Mhm.
I feel as though to get them to take that next step, there still has to be some aspect of connection. But you could totally say I'm wrong. That's just my like
Mm.
objective opinion. Do you know what I
No, that's
mean?
a great opinion and something people should think about. So, my test is, what if you didn't want to do any of it? Like, could it
Yeah.
still work? But if you
Yeah.
want, like, best bet would be to follow some of those practices. I have a little mini program called the 5E formula, and
Mm,
how to really present a brand on social media. Because one of
mm,
the problems that I see that photographers do is when they only post photos, if so what I ask people to do is pretend someone didn't look at your bio. Can they see you? Can they see why
yeah.
you're different really quickly without reading your bio? And if it's just photos, especially in the level of market saturation that we've reached, there's a lot of talented people out there.
Yeah.
So the 5E formula is, I have people work through like establish post, educate post, enroll post, elevate, these things with like social proof. So that's a really important connection to make if you do want to make Instagram one of your main bookings. The way I did it was like the super lazy person's that doesn't want anything to do, because I
Yeah. And
know
you
my
still had people
people.
click the website though,
Yeah,
you
I know I
know?
have people that they just really don't like social media. And I'm like, okay, is there a way that someone could do social media who really doesn't like it, where they could just like post a bunch and leave and they don't have to show their face and
Yeah.
they don't have to talk? And let's see if it
Well,
could be
you
a
could always
strategy.
treat it like a website landing page, and you could just say like, "Hey, but when you start this account, I want you to have
Hmm.
some personal stories that just go up when you start it in a highlight
Hmm.
section. That way
Yep.
when people
Just pin
land
those
here,
posts.
it
Yeah.
is personal and they do make
Mm,
that connection and it's not just a dump, and then they do want to then inquire. So just
yes.
put it all out there and treat it almost like a website. There's an about
Hmm.
me, there's
That's a
ways that
great
they can
idea.
connect with you.
Yep. Yep. Just 3
Genius.
posts, pin them to the top. Boom. And I would really recommend people don't just write in your caption. Put a little text on photos, like design it like a little swipey website.
People love
Because
that these days.
yeah, people love it. It just is more engaging. I've caught myself that unless someone really like if I feel like the caption's gonna really be valuable to me, I'll read it. But for the most part, I want to swipe, because even in the design, the fonts, you have an opportunity to add some layers that would connect with your clients. If it's beautiful to you, even at first glance, a font, the way it's placed over an image is like an extra like hidden connection point, even right, beyond the words. They're like, oh, that font's like, they don't even realize that they've leaned into, they're like, if you have a very editorial style, use a very editorial font, your editorial people are going to love to see a little design with that as well. So I love that you brought that up, and highly, highly recommend. But I definitely wanted to try, is there a way for the absolute Instagram hater to market on Instagram? But if you do want to have a little more of a brand, exactly what Summer said is what you should do, is to kind of move through your post and really showcase, even if you don't want to talk to camera, just a little bit more about you, your values, things that the ways that you shoot that may be different, things like that to stand out in the space, because it is harder nowadays.
I mean, even in the lazy way, I was just like, I mean, someone could utilize the story highlight feature, just that way they could just dump it all out and move on and keep the dumps coming. I'm like, that's super intriguing. Maybe I want to start an account just to see what happens, because I am thoroughly impressed that 5 people ended up inquiring, because
it wasn't a bad test, and that one was a really nice package too. I was like, all right, maybe people are living on here. So
no, that's super interesting. Do you mess around on TikTok too?
I did for a minute. Yeah. Again, I kind of
I don't, so I was just curious.
Yeah, I just kind of, there's some tests where I'm like, I'm going to test this, and then I like forget about it in a week. But I did play around on TikTok. I will likely kind of make a bunch of kind of wedding maybe related reels, just so they're not reels, TikToks, or I will make the reels and I will repurpose them
as
to
TikToks,
TikTok. Yeah. And just kind of to put them out there to see what happens. But I've messed around there a little bit. I really do. When it comes to scrolling, I spend more time on TikTok than I do Instagram. I just think it's fun. It's weird. I never know what's going to come up, and I like its algorithm. Like when it shows, I'm like, where did I go? I don't know.
I'm in the dark web.
Yeah, but if I think what's cool about TikTok is it's a lot less designed and things than Instagram is. Just like my best performing TikTok, it's not like a crazy amount of views, but had like 25,000 views, is just me in my car with a green screen talking about like a camera tool I use, and like how I kind of got a particular look on an image. Like if you don't want to kind of do a lot of editing and you just kind of want to riff, TikTok is a great option for that. It's much simpler on there. And in my testing with SEO for socials, it's a little bit that Wild West, where even when social posts are on Google, they kind of seem to, it's still trying to figure out. So sometimes it'll be some Instagram posts, some TikToks, and we'll kind of intermix. In my courses, I'm like, if you're going to make a reel for Instagram, why not just repost it on TikTok?
I know. I need to do that.
Yeah. There's like free downloaders online too. You don't even have to go find the file. You just download and
for anyone listening, I use the Turbo Chrome extension downloader, and it's has a little arrow logo thing, and I have it just in my Chrome. So anytime I go on Instagram on Chrome, if I need to download anything from Instagram, I just click download, airdrop it to my phone. Or for me specifically, it's very useful, because sometimes for podcast guests, maybe they'll forget to send a photo. So I can just go stalk them and rip their content. It's so easy, and I don't have to look up a website, because what I used to do was like Google Reels downloader or something, and there's like some website that's like potentially probably gonna like corrupt my entire phone. And
I have one that I found for my course where I'm like, this one is not as ads crazy.
But just Google Turbo. I think it's called Turbo Chrome extension Instagram downloader or something. And literally you can hover anywhere. Reel, post, whatever you want to hover over, boop, download. It's really nice. I got told about it recently, like within the last 6 months, and it's great. Yeah. I wouldn't want it on my phone, because literally anything you tap on, you can just download. But for my browser, it's great for just ripping content, So, because I was wondering, I was like, there's no way these accounts that like repost things and stuff, there's no way that they're just out here Googling and like pasting a link, you know? And so when someone
Mhm.
told me about the extension, I was like, yes, this is great.
This
This is
is the
wonderful.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's all so many apps and extensions and cool things out there. It's rad to see.
Yeah. I'm not nerdy enough for like the Chrome extensions. Like I'm not on that level yet, but I would like to be, you know? I got my,
Yeah, you started. You found a good one.
got my Instagram one. Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, so I feel like the topic of SEO and socials is so cool and enlightening. I mentioned, you know, hashtags, doing the names, doing locations potentially. Was there anything you feel like I didn't mention that you think people should be doing if they want to show up when people are
Mhm.
searching Instagram? Like, I feel like a modge podge of everything is useful, but you obviously have done way more information into all this like research than me and I just post, you know, and try to optimize it as best as I can.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's a few things to that. One off thing I do see, especially with wedding photographers, that they forget is to tag the venue and the planner in the photo
Mm,
and not just in the caption because it's going to show in their tagged feed.
yes. And that could get
Just a
you
little,
booked.
it's a little extra. Oh, that's that one that booked close to 10K. That's how they found me. They just
Oh,
were
that's
clicking around
awesome.
because when I thought of that because when I was researching for my wedding, my venue would like barely post photos, so I was checking their like tagged feed because
Tagged
I like wanted to
photos.
see. I was trying to
Yeah.
like look at tables, and I was like, oh, so there's a couple things most people do tag, but I've come across that. The second thing is whatever you put in the first sentence
Hmm.
in the caption should be a pretty clear keyword. You can make it really natural, like a sunset, dreamy Palm Springs elopement. Like that's my keyword. Palm Springs
Hmm.
elopement. Like I absolutely like fly me down to Palm Springs anytime. I'm a martinis by the pool
I
kind of girl.
love
Whatever.
the desert, man.
Yeah, me
It's so
too.
nice.
Can you see I keep talking about it because I love
Yes.
it. So that's definitely the keyword in the first sentence. And one thing that I do that can be really helpful is to actually like, because most people are like, well, what the heck are my keywords? So there are kind of 4 kinds of magic keywords I could refer to them as magic keywords, and it's not like a cute, like, oh, it's a cute name. Most industries, SEO is very, very hard and is no longer effective. Like it is dying in a lot of industries, at least if you're a really small business owner. But
Mm.
in photography, we do have magic keywords, ones that potential people like our potential people that could hire us will actually search and we can actually rank for them, which is
Mm.
great. And that kind of has to do, like you said, with your main location. Then I also have roundup ones like the one I just mentioned with like 10 best wedding venues, things like that. You know your people are looking those things up, those kind of 10 best lists. There is also catfish keywords. These are kind of unique ones where you're literally catfishing people. This is great for like boudoir photographers who they're like, well, I don't have any locations to target. Well, you could do a great blog post on, the 10 places in Denver, the best 10 places in Denver for lingerie. And then you just slide in your photos and be like, you want some cute photos in your new little outfit?
Yes.
Because you're
I
like,
know
why
people do
not?
that in the elopement side a lot too. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the best hikes in Iceland, and then it's like, you want me to take your elopement
You
photos
know
in
what I'm saying?
Iceland?
It's a little catfish.
I actually, I ended
Yeah.
up on a blog. This was so random, and this you would maybe find enlightening. When I was going to give birth and shot a kid, a year ago, I was Googling, and I'll never forget it because I was like, what the heck? I ended up on a photographer's website. I was Googling stuff about birth and about like maybe what I'm supposed to bring to the hospital, or I think maybe I was
Mm-hmm.
researching my hospital that I wanted to give birth at because I was trying to go out of my network a little to go to a nicer hospital and stuff. And I was researching that hospital because I want to go into the best hospitals, all the things. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I end up researching this hospital and I end up on like basically someone like me, this website. And I was like, this is crazy. So I guess she does family photography or birth photography, And
Mm-hmm.
so it was her way to like funnel in. But it was just so funny. I was like, this is so random that
Mm-hmm.
she has a blog written about like my hospital I was researching. Like it was
That's
like
wild.
it
Yeah.
felt random. Like I get it now because I'm sure she shoots families or births and stuff. But I was like, that's such a specific like blog to write. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what you need to know about Cedar Sinai. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that is
Why not?
so interesting,
Yeah,
you know?
it's
And
kind of like, it's like, why not? Especially for like newborn photographers or boudoir, like they don't have, like we have like elopements, families, weddings. We can kind of do this really awesome strategy with locations. If you are a studio photographer, you're going to have to get a little
yeah,
creative and
meanwhile, she
just
was like
have a little
writing a
more to
blog
go for.
about a hospital.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. There we go. Yeah, that's why I called them catfish, because I'm like, these are so
I
silly,
know.
but you never know. Like I had someone search like mismatched bridesmaids dresses on Pinterest and then like inquired, and I was like, that is
Mm.
so random.
I mean,
Like,
had
but
this
great.
website been optimized even a little better, probably had I ended up on like an email list, like a pop-up popped up with
Exactly.
like, hey, I
Yes.
also do photography. If a pop-up had popped up on that page, I think that would have been something to seal the deal for a lot of people, because
Yes.
then people who are about to give birth would have gotten a pop-up of, hey, by the way, before you read this blog, I am a photographer. I would love to capture your newborn photos. Put your email here, and when I run whatever, I'll send you more
Mm-hmm.
information. That I think would have been the thing that could have sealed the deal for her. Because instead, it's like, I don't remember whose website this is. I'll never see this website again. I do think if you're going to
Yes.
write a blog that specific, you got to find a way to funnel them into something that you can actually contact them again with. Do you agree?
100%. Yeah, I if there is any recommendation I could give to anyone who has repeat clients, so
Mm.
things like brand, boudoir, family newborn, things like that. Ooh, just have a little newsletter. Have
Yes.
a little value sharing newsletter. I think people associate newsletters with just like sales, but it's like what you said, it's just staying top of mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely agree with that. And if that pop-up had something kind of cool for them, maybe like a
Mm-hmm.
little free, um, like even just like, hey, I have a little guide on the
How to
best
pose your
times.
baby. I
Yeah, how to pose
don't
your baby, or like the best times to do photography for your newborn once they're born.
know.
It's great to
Mm-hmm.
capture those milestones. So
Genius.
this is that way you can just kind of plan for that a little bit. Something like that, like a little, just something a little cute. And then newsletters don't have to be all the time. They don't even have to be pushy, but just sharing. I mean, family photographers, you just sharing your values about family photography will guilt people into getting family photos, where you're just like,
So
man, look,
true.
there, you could just send a couple photos and be like, this is a session I shot. It's been so cool shooting these three children through the phases of their life. Some mom's going to open that and be like,
I need to do
I need
it.
I need to do that. I need to
Yep.
do that. Like, you don't even have to say it. Be like, oh, I'm open for sessions. I have 2 session openings this month. Here's the link to book. Yeah, that's a big, just a little, it can be simple. It can be really heartfelt. It can be whatever you want. It doesn't have to be some where you only send emails when you have sales or something like that, but just staying top of mind. So yeah, I would highly recommend that. And I
Yeah.
think that's awesome that you brought that up, because I think email marketing in our industry gets pretty overlooked. I think for weddings, it's like, I mean, you can have a freebie, but like they're going to get married once.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
might
with
be,
the
they might be
elopement
gone.
side though, if someone was Googling hikes in Iceland and then they ended up eloping,
Hmm.
maybe it could work, you know?
Yeah.
They should pop up on I don't know. Maybe the blog would need to be more specific, like dream places you could elope in the XYZ. And then somehow it captures them with like, oh, do you want like a little guide to my favorite trails too? Put your email here. And
Mhm.
then you could email them after the fact. I think that could
Yeah.
work because they're in the beginning process
Mhm.
of looking for things. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of
It just
one
has a
and
little
done from
less
there.
like
Yeah.
longevity. It
Yeah.
could, but it's gonna, one thing is it could drop off. It might affect your opening rates, which then makes your email show lower and things like
Yeah.
that. So, but I've definitely seen people do it. And I think if you want to, but, yeah, I think it's really effective for anyone on repeat.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, yeah, for elopements or weddings, it's not a bad idea. I know
Yeah.
a lot of wedding planners will have little, planning tip
Tip
timelines or little
things.
worksheets. But I more really, really push it on family and brand in them, because I'm
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
You
so we have
need
our
it.
locations and
Yeah.
stuff with our SEO gold. I'm like, y'all have the repeat client gold that a lot of
Mm-hmm.
us wedding photographers do not have.
Yeah.
So,
I think
yeah.
also I've been pushing email marketing a little more because I think most wedding photographers, when they really dive into weddings, they are really into weddings, weddings only, wedding, 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 wedding. But I think as
You
people
might not
grow,
be.
they start
Yeah.
starting their own families. A lot of wedding photographers do shift. I mean, even myself,
Mhm.
I've been like kind of into some family shoots these days, and I never intended in
Cool.
shooting families, but I'll do them for my past clients. Now, had I had those past clients on an email list, my life would have been so much easier, and I would have been able to directly contact everyone I had worked with in the past so easily in a segment. And so I'm like, for everyone listening, even if you're just a wedding or event photographer and you're like, this might not work for me, I'm like, you know what? Have some sort of opt in some capacity, because it'd be so much easier
Why
to
not?
communicate with them if you decide to shift, pivot, or transition later in life, because maybe you don't want to do weddings in 20 years, but if you could contact all those people that now have children and then maybe have grandchildren, you could pivot probably
Yeah.
pretty easily with a base of clientele that trust and respect you because they've already paid you in the past.
Definitely. Yep.
That was a whole
Why not?
marketing tangent, but
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I love that tangent. Yeah,
Oh,
because I do
gosh.
think it gets overlooked, and it can be, yeah, why not? And what's cool was like a lead magnet seems like a little bit of work, and it is, but then it just sits there
Yeah.
and collects for you.
Yeah. Might
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Man, is there anything else you would love to tell everyone about SEO? Because I feel like we could go on for ever and ever and ever and ever, but I feel like this is like a decent, like, we chatted on everything, we chatted on emails. I feel like this is almost a decent, like, ending transition wrap, but I feel like you specifically could talk on marketing forever. And so I wanted to see if we still wanted to try and hit a little bit of like the market shifts, because you and I had chatted about that a little bit prior to the podcast. And I think that could be an interesting way to kind of wrap up this episode, is just awareness of the shifts in the industry, what you feel like you're seeing as someone that deeply researches this. Because I think for artists and creatives, anyone listening, whether you're a wedding photographer, brand, family, whatever, maybe you're just a wedding industry person, I think hearing about, at least I respect your knowledge on the market, what you're seeing and feeling, I think that could be a great way to kind of wrap up the show. Thoughts?
Yeah, thoughts.
Okay, let's do it.
No, I think that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this year, I think we've all felt it now with it being December. I sort of had a feeling early in 2025. I was like, something is wonky. I was seeing it a little bit in my data, and I was looking at everything, and I'm like, okay, well, did my keywords change or something drop off? And I'm like, no, rankings didn't change. And then I started getting more feedback and doing polls on my Instagram and hearing back from people that they were noticing quite a drastic drop. I am on a few private newsletters with some bigger wedding planners and things like that, where they're really open. It's like a vendors only kind of, BFF sort of. And they were breaking down the percentage drops they were having. And I was like, this is interesting.
Wild.
So I was like, well, maybe, I didn't want to overreact, but I'm like, maybe this is just a little, these drops can happen too. There can be these interesting where it just seems like 2 or 3 months, things get a little low. And now that we're sitting at the end of the year, I'm like, oh my gosh, we just went through a huge market dip. So I do think, and this is cross industry as well. I am on a couple different newsletters in other industries, like the coaching industry, the kind of more spiritual astrology industry, and all of them are reporting. I just got a really great one from Marketing for Hippies, great newsletter, quoting everyone is having a lot of struggling booking so if they had kind of kept things the same, it's like everything kind of dropped. So I'm like, okay, I think we're looking at a larger economic uncertainty that is happening right now, where people are tightening the belts. We have Gen Z coming up that are planning very different weddings. They're doing more intimate weddings, smaller events, because I've gotten a lot more of those inquiries as well, where it's more for like 4 or 6 hours. I'm like, okay, interesting. But we have some additional layers in photography, in that we have now. I don't believe in the term oversaturation. That doesn't exist, because that means there's some sort of defined, like, okay, it's perfectly saturated. Like, no, but I have been in this industry for 12 years. We are at a certain level of saturation where there's a lot of really, really talented people out there. So there's that. And then we had on top of it the huge Instagram algorithm changes this year. It has been mind blowing. I watched some accounts right towards the end of 2024 going from oftentimes getting 1,000, 2,000 likes on their posts. These are people with over 100,000 followers. And all of a sudden they were getting like 80 likes on their post. And I was like, because I like to study all, just to kind of see, because there's follower count and then there's actually like the performance of posts. And I noticed on some of my accounts that I really follow, because I like to watch and compare of kind of how are they shifting, because they're spending a lot of time on this stuff. And I would compare accounts and I'm like, what happened? Something like
Yeah.
drastically happened. And I think that has to do, and it's not just like an algorithm shift. I think people are information and content exhausted. We're a lot more picky about what we allow into our online space. So kind of like cheap hooks and these things, like our brain immediately wants to decide, is this worth my time? And it's going to move on really, really quickly. So I think those sorts of layers, we got Instagram got hit, we got economic uncertainty, we have a certain level of market saturation that, yeah, we saw overall in the industry a huge dip. And if people weren't really like, so what I've been doing all year is like, okay, well, my traffic is down about 30 to 40% on my website and things like that. Well, how do I turn it up? How do I
Mm.
just make up those numbers? Because that's what I need to do. And that can be, I never want it to be scary, but I think it's important to understand what paradigm we're currently in, because I've gotten messages like, I'm just not booking, maybe it's my website, or this might be broken. And I'm like, I don't think that's it. I think it's just we are seeing a percentage shift down, which does mean visibility needs to percentage shift up to offset
Mm.
for that. So that's why I think that is so important for people to know, because I think a lot of people can feel really down or even think it's their work. They think, well, my work's
Yeah.
not good enough. And it may not be that at all. It's just there's not enough
Mm-hmm.
eyes on it to make up for a large global potentially like shift. I can't speak for technically for other countries, but I do have students in other countries and they are reporting the same things from like Italy and Germany, things like that. So yeah, I just really want people to maybe know that it isn't, it may not be, because I've had people message me like, maybe my work's just not good. And I'm like, oh no, like, no. I
Yeah.
think this is way bigger. Like this is way bigger.
Yeah.
So it's just something to keep in mind that that yes, the paradigm is different this year, but it's totally within our power to take what shifts we need to kind of rev things up. And that's why I really got to work this year. I was like, okay, people are really going to need help getting bookings now. And I love traditional SEO, but it takes a little bit of time to build, worth
Mm-hmm.
it completely. But I was like, what are quick things that people can implement to get more eyes on their work? Because that's what's needed. So, but yeah, those are the shifts that I was watching all year. And I was like, this is really interesting. And it ended up being longer term. I have seen a little blip up in my inquiries this month, but not, again, not at the levels that I used to. So I'm pretty used
Yeah.
to consistently getting about 30 to 80 inquiries every single month. And now it's been more in like the 20 to 40 range. And I was like, that is interesting.
Mm.
So, yeah, so it's just something to note that if you are feeling that a little bit at all, you're not alone, but it is time to turn the volume up. This is kind of that part in the hero's journey to see, is the hero gonna, like when we're like screaming at the movie theater, like, come on, like go. Like it's definitely like that time where it's like, okay, I know I can do this, because I know it seems like SEO or these things are technical, but they're really not. A lot of times I feel like they've been made out to be way more complicated than they are. And yeah, I just want to encourage people that you have the absolute capabilities. You have educators like Summer and I that are in your court that provide resources, but this will be, all you need is more eyes on your work. You might not need to just overrun your portfolio or that you have to close your business. We just want to rev up on kind of multiple platforms and get the channels kind of going, and you're going to be okay. So, but that's what I'm doing. I just was like, okay, well, things are down about 40%. I'm just going to rev it up 40%. So that's how we just work a numbers game.
For everyone watching over on YouTube, my battery totally just wiped, and that's why my face ended up pausing. But I did not want to interrupt Catalina because I feel like you were dropping straight wisdom. But we're back, and yeah, super stoked that you were able to finish that sentence. So if you're watching on YouTube, I'm sorry, but if you're audio only, who even cares? You wouldn't even know that anything happened. But that was such a good note on the market shift, and I think that's so interesting that you've studied it, but two, that you're hearing that other people are having this shift as well. And that three, I feel like the point you made on visibility, I think is so freaking good, because I think oftentimes people do want to associate it with their work and not on the fact that genuinely there is just not enough people that know about them and know to book them. And it's normally never it's normally not even like a sales issue. It's normally not a work issue. All of
Mhm.
us, honestly, in today's day and age of technology, something that's been interesting conversations with people I've been having is like, we all at this point take really good photos.
Yeah,
It's like
it's kind
some
of true.
people just have to know that you
Yeah.
exist.
Hmm.
And oftentimes, just posting on Instagram does not get enough word out that
Hmm.
you are a professional that people should book. It's just not enough. So I've
Hmm.
absolutely loved everything you've talked on SEO. And even I'm kind of excited to like stalk you after this. So this has been so fun. I know that you have so many resources for people. So I would love if you gave us a little rundown on that to wrap up the
Yeah.
show, because I know that even myself, when people are like, Summer, can you tell me about SEO? I'm like, you need to go to Catalina. So I would love if you tell people like what you have and what you're offering, and then everything will be linked in the show notes and the description. But I definitely wanted to give you an opportunity to do that as we wrap up. That way, for anyone listening that does want to know more about SEO, they can easily find that information and know what they're looking at.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I have kind of a few tiers. If you go to my Instagram and just scroll my posts, I have mini trainings right on there that you can kind of comment a word on that and you can get sent something completely for free that will be a really nice guide. And then if you click on my link in bio, I have 2 journeys that you can kind of go on. You can
Mm,
really focus in on SEO, and there's a kind of a myriad of courses. You can get them all, but you can kind of choose your path. And then I also have been teaching on Instagram this year, but much more going deeper, also into SEO for socials, but going deeper because of something that I really struggled with Instagram, and why I thought I hated it is I just didn't know how to do it and I didn't know what to say. And so I developed a process and system to pull out your brand voice, pull out what makes you
mm,
valuable, kind of acts as your little therapist. If you're feeling down about your business, that's Instant Content Creator, and that's there. But if you go to the link in bio, I have 2, just kind of what you want to learn. You click one button and you'll kind of get your path there. And there's courses, starting at $22. So because I really
amazing.
want things to be very high impact, and I want you to be able to get something that is affordable, but also that's something that you'll be able to apply, because I think that's really important this year, is that we get into that application, like you said, and that
Mm-hmm.
it's just up in the eyeballs on our work. And there are easy ways to do it that you don't have to be a tech expert or any of that. So all of that is in the link in the bio, whatever path you want to choose.
I think it's so beautiful. And your mindset around like low budget, high impact, I just freaking love that. I think it's so needed in our industry. It is,
Mhm.
I would say the educational space is oversaturated with like really high dollar things that oftentimes even myself, I question if they're even worth it sometimes,
Yeah.
it's hard, that kind of money being taken from artists. I don't know. It's hard. So I absolutely love that you launched that, especially in today's market and in the shifts that you're seeing. I think that just goes so like aligned. I just think it's beautiful. So
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm stoked for everyone to go connect with you and learn more from you. But if you were to end everyone, because I have been asking this recently, so I might as well ask you this as well. If you could end everyone with something you wish someone had told younger Catalina when it came into whether it's coming into business or coming into wedding photography or marketing, whatever way you want to take this, what do you wish someone had told you?
Hmm. Um, well, I'm glad I wasn't told how long it was going to take and how much work it was going to take. Because when you start something, there is, I think this is what I would tell myself, is that frustration, the times where you pick up your camera and you're like, it doesn't look like what I want it to look like,
Mm,
or it isn't quite there yet. Like that is actually such a fuel and such a fire to use if you can tweak it just a little bit. Like, yes, it's frustrating, but there's like fuel in that
mm,
tank behind that, because there's something in you that knows you can. There's something in you that's pushing you in that direction. And yes, it can be a little bit of a long path to get there. But now I look back over 12 years of not only coming to a place in my work where I am incredibly happy with my work, but that is built on, literally, I've probably taken like well over 1 million photos now. It's built on a pile of a lot of bad photos.
yeah.
And then kind of transitioning into being even a little more of a leader in the industry and into education, there is a pile of failures it is built on, and you can kind of see the end of that path. But it is something so rewarding to stay on that path and build something for yourself. But know, like, that like kind of frustration, or that like that's a fuel to pull from. You're like, but because it can really elevate your system to move forward. So I know some people go, oh, this shouldn't be frustrating. It kind of should be a little bit. And you're going to be a stronger and more capable person. And because of that, of kind of pushing into that. So if you're feeling that, it's just because something in you knows you can do it, and the challenge is really worth it. So I think a lot of years I was like so in my frustration with like, I just wanted it to be perfect and better and these things. And I'm like, now I look back and it's like, oh, if I just relaxed a little bit into that, like still been frustrated, but not been so that something was wrong. It's nothing was wrong. It's, we start new things, and starting as a beginner is tough, and the process can be tough. But yeah, it's something I encourage everyone in my life. Like my husband built his first business in the last few years too, and I could sense that he's like, I just want that second client, or and I'm like, that is such a beautiful thing, like to be in those stages of really wanting and really building. And yeah, I mean, we can kind of turn that into a fuel and know that that's actually right on the path. Because yeah, I looked at other people, I'm like, they have it easy, and I'm like, nobody has it easy. It's literally built on just a pile and years of throwing stuff against a wall and seeing what sticks. So yeah, I think that's what I would tell myself, is to that
embrace the frustration.
Yeah, embrace the frustration a little bit, and it will feel weird, but it's like that is exactly, because there's a point, you might not see the end point yet, but there's something drawing you to it, and it's that push through that'll get you there.
Man, that was absolutely beautiful. I'm so glad that you joined us on the podcast. And for everyone listening, make sure that you go find her. Everything's going to be down in those show notes. And if you love this episode and know that a friend needs to know more about SEO, go ahead and shoot this on over to them. Go ahead and click follow, leave us a review, because it helps me get amazing people like Catalina on the podcast. And if you're not a member in summer school, I want you to go ahead and click down in there as well and come join us, because that is like this on steroids. So you definitely want to come hang out with us in there. It's our community. It's paid, but there's so much wisdom dropping in there, like awesome exclusive podcast interviews, like classes, like events, live workshops. It's honestly a really, really great, really awesome time. So if you're not in there, go ahead and join in there, and I will catch all of you so soon. Thank you so much for joining us, Catalina, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.